hello world. Good morning, Pilipinas. Welcome to our The Teacher Voice. This is an hour show that aims to give teachers the opportunity to talk on air about their unforgettable journey, thrilling adventures, share their splendid wisdom to inspire, give hope to our listeners and viewers. This show airs by the Philippine Las Vegas radio station located in the heart of Las Vegas every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the Philippines, it's Sunday, 9 in the morning. I am Teacher Judy, your host, and my co-hosts for tonight are Tita Josie Harrison of Las Vegas.
Hello.
And Teacher Pasita Ross of New York City.
Hi, how are you?
And before we're gonna start, we're going to greet our friends, our teachers, our family out there in the whole world, wherever you are. I want to greet my family back home. I am from Bacolod, so taga Negros Occidental, mga family members ko dyan, mga fellow teachers, mga friends. Good morning there in the Philippines and here also in New York, in America. Good evening to all of you. Continue to watch our show. This is going to inspire you guys. Tita Pasit?
Hi. Good evening, world, like you say, or good morning to everybody. Can I please make a special shout out to Esing Gaetano, my best friend in high school back home in the sleepy town of Aroroy, Masbate. And I'd like to also greet all the teachers and all my relatives and friends everywhere. Thank you.
Nice. Okay. Tita Josie?
Hello everyone! Nandito na naman po kami. Mag-i-inspire na naman kami sa inyo. Sana ay mas marami pang teachers na nakikinig at matulungan namin. Thank you. Good evening.
Hey, wow. So tonight we are going to have a very, very special guest. And Tita Pasit is going to read the bio.
Hi. It's a rare privilege for me to introduce our young, I know young, kasi ako 74 na, siya ay batang-bata. Our very young guest who has made a name for herself and has done a lot of good things in education. Let me read to you a little bit more, like a summary of her experiences and aspirations. Okay, here it is. Our special guest for tonight is an early education educator. For close to 20 years now, she has been in the field of early childhood education and the advocacy for quality early years program in every country that she visits. In the Philippines, she has helped roll out an inclusive education project in 3 cities in Manila, enabling hundreds of children with disabilities access quality early childhood education programs. She currently resides in Toronto, Canada, where she finds passion empowering fellow Philippine-trained teachers there. Judy, your turn.
Guys, this is my pleasure. It's my honor to introduce to you Mary Ann Santos, that she is currently right now in Canada. Hi, Mary Ann.
Hello.
This is my first meeting with you, and it's our pleasure that you are here right now.
Yes, it is.
And Mary Ann, we are very, very excited to hear also
Tita Judy.
your story. Can you hear us?
Hello everyone. Magandang araw po sa ating lahat, sa mga kababayan natin sa buong dako ng mundo. Binabati ko po ang ating mga host ngayong I don't know if I should say good evening. I mean ngayong gabi, ngayong araw. So ngayon si Tita Pasita, si Tita Judy at si Tita Josie. Magandang araw po sa inyo. Ako po si Mary Ann Santos. I have been teaching for close to 20 years now. And how did I get into the teaching job? I graduated from the University of the Philippines in Manila with a background in behavioral sciences. I was planning of taking medicine. However, probably due to I don't know, different limitations in life, probably budget, how costly it is to
Mhm.
be able to pursue medicine. And at the same time, health reasons too, because when you're into medicine, you tend to really spend late night, with your duty. And also, I feel like I am not going to be effective doctor because I might fall asleep during my duty. So
Dangerous.
dangerous. So I decided, and with the help of some friends, specifically my former boyfriend, now my husband, who has
Oh.
given me the idea, why not try to be a teacher? So there it went. I took my preparation for teaching from the same university in the University of the Philippines, where I started teaching in the early years in Quezon City, and then I moved to. Is it okay to mention schools, or it's not okay to
It's
mention
Of
okay.
schools?
course, of
That's
course.
fine. Yeah. Okay. I started working in Piaget Guided Educational Center in Quezon City, then went to the Systems Technology Institute, the STI College for preschool. I stayed there for 2 years, then moved into St. Pedro Poveda College in Ortigas Avenue, where I stayed for more than 10 years.
Mhm.
So it's there in St. Pedro Poveda College that I have polished many of my skills, I suppose. And yeah, the pedagogy of Father Poveda has allowed me to grow in my faith and in my passion for teaching. And when I took my licensure examination, I was probably inspired that I landed in a good place for the licensure
Okay.
examination. Yes. And then there were people inviting me, like my brother who stays in Singapore says, would you like to try it here? Because there would come a time when you would need some professional development. So when I went to Singapore, and when I was about to sign a contract in an early childhood center there, I saw this gathering of early childhood educators, which I attended. It was a conference by the Asia Regional Network for Early Childhood, and it was an eye opener for me because in the conference there was statistics that was shared by the International Economic Forum stating that the Philippines is the 43rd out of 45th or out of 45 countries when it
Oh
comes
my
to
God.
quality
Oh
of
my.
early childhood education. So
Very
I
bad.
felt embarrassed. Exactly, Tita Pasida. I was embarrassed. Like, I didn't know of this. What have I been doing? And realizing that because the school I've been in was from it's a private school. So many of the schools in the Philippines are being run well in support of the government because our population has steadily been very rapid when it comes to growth. We're now 108 million in population currently. So the government couldn't support the education needs for the Philippines. So there are many private schools. So I've been exposed to the private school. Only then I got to realize how quality in the early childhood had been. So I said to myself, before I work in Singapore, I decided to go back to come back to the Philippines. So when
Wow.
I came back, so when I came back to the Philippines, I didn't know what to do. So what I did in my neighborhood, I gathered the preschoolers there, my neighbors. So I said, this summertime, we're gonna have this, augmentation of the quality, the kind of stimulation these children need, the kind of information the parents need. So I organized for 7 weeks. And then
Mm.
my husband started asking me, hey, our family is growing. Our son is just 2 years old. If you're gonna do, like public and offer your services for free, and I've been volunteering here and there, how
Yeah.
will we grow?
Yes.
How
Yes.
will we, address our needs? So anyway, I've been attending because I'm in search for something that would make me feel um, how do I explain it? You would feel it when you are in search of something, right?
Yeah.
So here and there, I volunteer, I do research. So I was passionate about this concept of metacognition, like making children aware of how they're thinking.
Definitely.
So I did research and I piloted it in in a in a slum area in Pasig, and so
Oh.
I shared the results of my research in different venues, such as in Thailand, the different organizations that I got in search of this passion for quality, passion for and desire to help. I became a member of the Pacific Early Childhood Education Research Association, Asia Regional Network for Early Childhood, and all the other um, Association for the Gifted and everything. And it's during these venues that I get to see opportunities for best practices, and more importantly, it's where I saw different international organizations. Doon ko po nakita na meron po palang mga organizations such as Save the Children, such as Plan International, such as there's so many international development organization, and there are people who fund this. And then I said, oh, this is what I have been looking for. You are able to help people, and it's your bread and butter. Right. So if you're not spending your money, but then you are able to fulfill programs, especially for the needy.
Very good.
So that's when I got to see Save the Children, and the Save the Children, am I still okay? Which was founded by the IKEA Foundation. At that time, they had a project, inclusive education project, which rolled out in Parañaque, Parañaque, Taguig, and Pateros. And that project earmarked, wow, it's a big money, that they wanted to make children, specifically with disabilities, to access quality early years program.
Okay.
You know what? When I visited these different villages, we call it barangay back home, marami po akong nakita wherein mga bata na merong disability in various forms, physical disability, autism, hyperactivity, all in the spectrum. Many are not able to access early childhood. Bakit? Early childhood programs. Kasi po, mahirap po. Ihahatid nila yung bata, babantayan nila. Paano po yung trabaho nila? May mga bata po na nakatali sa bahay. It was really heartbreaking. And in the statistics that were, well, since I've been doing a lot of reading, research, and sharing of practices with different organizations, there's 1.57% of any population that has disability. So that means if we are 108 million, how many are with disability? It's 106. 1 million. So if we are 108 million, around 1.67 or 1.7 million have disability. And this is a big money. And this is a big, what I'm trying to say with big money is...
Excuse me.
Sorry, go ahead.
Mary Ann, I will cut you off.
Sure.
Who gave you the funding for this?
That's when I got to know of this. So there are many different organizations who prepare proposals. So when you have a project proposal, you give it to different foundation. For example, in that project that I have helped roll out, it was funded by IKEA Foundation of Sweden. So there are many different development organizations that help address whatever the need is, specifically the third world countries.
Okay. So with these three cities, IKEA was the one who funded this.
That's right. So there are development organizations that go different funders. IKEA is just one, and the implementer of the project is Save the Children. So I fell in love with that, and I was just probably 1 year and so, and I was able to form partnership. Well, in that moment, because it was just a year, I was able to form partnership preliminary with Medical City. That's where, because I was thinking, if we are to make a project sustainable, we have to have partners from the different civil service organizations and at the same time private organization, because not it will not be perpetual that the funding will be available.
Right,
so
right.
during that project cycle, we are to form partnerships, and that the whatever organization of the government that will be responsible for that will be able to adopt it and make it their own. So that was our job. The project was just 3 years, but I was there for around 1 year and probably 3 months. I was able to form partnership with the University of Santo Tomas for their physical therapy sessions, because the students from different programs, such as, for example, University of Santo Tomas, they have students who would need numbers to implement, like as practicum. So the children needing therapy for PT, for occupational therapy, the same way with the medical city, they would need numbers too. So we are to form partnership, and the people who have continued rolling out the project was able to really had partnership with the Department of Social Work, Department of Education, and at the same time, this is under the Office of the President, the one that's handling the disability affairs. And it was so fulfilling because children who had meningitis, children with different conditions were provided wheelchair, spectacles, hearing aids, and most specifically the medical support and the psychoeducational support that they would be needing, because to be able to address the need of a child with disability is an entire lifetime need. And many of the poor people, we couldn't, like for example, I couldn't support that right away. I have to fend for my home, I have to fend for my children, and most especially the child with disability, for example. So it was so fulfilling, and I wasn't finished that time yet when my invitation to migration to Canada came. So that's how
Mary
Canada
Ann,
came around.
So Mary Ann, how would you right now this program, is it part of the Department of Education, or is it, and how many children do you think are enrolled in this inclusive educational project? Would you know some numbers?
Thank you for that question. The Department of Education continuously have data collection. So as of the only data that I have right now, because I left the Philippines in 2015, was that of 2014. Only 28% of children with disability are able to access. So 28%. So a big number is not able to access programs. Why? Maybe number one, some children have not been registered. I mean, like, hindi po lahat nagpaparehistro ng kanilang birth.
Some
and then another,
some parents maybe don't know. They need some information to, they don't know that there is a program, something like that exists.
You are so right. And that was how beautiful the project had been, because there was awareness raising session for parents, awareness raising session for principals. So that's the one I took on, the capacity building for principals, the capacity building for our partners who are the district superintendents. So we form partnership, because if not with the blessing of the people from the government, the teachers who are our service, our direct service provider for the children, wouldn't have an enlightened mind. You would see some, of course, it's hard to teach. You are all aware of that.
So Mary Ann, like you said a while ago, there are about over 1 million children who are disabled, you said. Am I correct?
Children with disability, yeah.
And you said that as of 2014, only about 28% of these disabled children or children with disabilities have been in the program. That's very, very few. That's like 280,000.
That's
how big the gap is. That's how big the gap is.
But is this still... Yeah, I'm sorry. Is this still existing?
Which one?
The project.
That's the reason why we form partnership with the government. So we have it when I was there, and until now I'm still in touch, but of course the progress of the project may not be available for me when it comes to exact numbers, but during that time in 2015 when I left the Philippines, we have delivered child protection capacity building. So when we do training, it's a series of training. It's like complete change of perspective because it starts with awareness. It starts with a conviction. It's not just dole out money to provide wheelchair to provide. It's really about awareness raising sessions. So we're able to train hundred thousands of teachers. So it's hundred thousands of teachers and parents with the different programs. That's how amazing this job is. So when I came to Canada, I was looking for that. that kind of activity, that kind of passion for having a larger impact. So that's how I got to know of different organizations here as well, Kababayan, where I helped out women who are into caregiving, because for a very long time the program for migration had been through caregiving pathway. Right. So those are transitioning from caregiving into their own profession. Mm-hmm. They need some assistance. So I provide opportunities for them to attend English refresher course. And then because English is not our first language, and in the country where we are in, we are expected to have quality communication when it comes to speaking, writing, and all these, and even reading. So yeah. So if you're asking me how has this transition to where am I now, I'm into different community groups here in Toronto. So one group that I am in is the Philippine Teachers Association in Canada, where we are 130 in membership. And it's so hard to get into the teaching job here. Number one, regulation. Number one, regulation. We have here the Regulation 274, which makes teachers who are starting teachers undergo certain screening. So every step of the way, there is a screening interview, there are exams. And before you get into the school, you have to wait for sick leaves. People, like we are in the supply list, we are in the substitution list. So whoever is on leave, that's when we only get the chance to
teach.
Get into. Is that the same way in the US too?
Yeah, but like you said, before we become licensed here, we need to be evaluated. Our transcript of record,
credentials.
The credentials will be evaluated, and actually, for me, they found that I had 6 credits deficiency, which I had to do over before I, got my license here.
Before, so
right.
Long time ago.
Mary Ann.
But Mary here. Yeah. Go ahead,
Tita Josie.
Yeah. You said that IKEA funded your program. Is there a part of the funds to sustain this project coming from the government itself?
That's a good question. There's so much lobbying. So the government has a specific number, has budget, right? However, the number of people needing, if you are going to be distributing the budget that we have, ang naiiwan po yung mga children with disability, the programs. Naiiwan po yan. Ganon din po naiiwan yung mga programa para sa mga seniors at the same time sa mga kababaihan. So, marami pa po tayong kailangan trabahuhin sa Pilipinas. Ang maganda lang po, marami naman po ang willing din tumulong na mga organization like, as I've said, international non-government organizations.
But as far as I know, that we have early childhood education there back in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that means the Department of Ed, they have existing curriculum for the early childhood, and that is financed by the government.
You know what? That's very true. When it comes to training, when it comes to materials, marami po tayo niyan. Magagaling po ang ating mga leader dyan. Ang problema po kasi, ang implementation, medyo complicated. Dahil ang pag-handle po ng mga programa para sa mga bata, ang budget po nasa ilalim po ng mga local government. So when you say local government, barangay po iyan. So una muna sa city government and then barangay. Highly politicized po ang ating gobyerno.
Oh, yes.
So sa mga barangay po, nandiyan po ang daycare. Diyan po ang nagsisimula ang early childhood program. So siyempre po kung sino po ang tumulong sa ating mga nangangandidato, sila po ang makakakuha ng mga trabaho sa daycare. Kaya po yung mga katulad ng Save the Children, tinutulungan nila na maging equip yung mga napili ng mga barangay, yun na nga, barangay officials na maging daycare worker. Kasi hindi po qualification ang tinitingnan. Kung ang tinitingnan po yung tumulong sa eleksyon.
So what you're saying, Mary Ann,
That's so funny, right?
yung mga barangay, barangay daycare center workers, yung teacher is not exactly a licensed, qualified teacher. Hindi siya talagang teacher as we know it.
Licensed.
Hindi po.
Hindi, yeah.
Oh.
That is the
so
okay.
now I understand. That means what you are saying, that means that is not part of the Department of Ed.
Hindi po. Magkahiwalay po. Kaya po early childhood program.
Wow.
Wow.
The
under po the local government.
Oh gosh. Uh-huh.
Oh, so that's why you are affiliating and partnering with different whatever organization, international or local, in their private sectors, stakeholders in there, because the government itself does not have a lot of funding in there like a Department of Ed. I'm so sorry.
Early childhood program. Pero mahuhusay po ang leader natin dyan. Mahuhusay ang leader sa, pero pagdating sa budget, hindi naman nila hawak. Kasi po ang leader natin dyan, under
when
po
you
ng
say
Office
leader,
of the Government.
what you are saying is the childhood education. That's what you mean when you say, okay.
Opo, may opisina po dyan under the Office of the Government, pero ang funding para sa pagsweldo po sa mga daycare worker nakasalalay po sa sa local government. So ang opisina po ng nangangalaga ng early framework natin, early childhood framework, ano po siya, isang umbrella. It's like a coordinating council. It's a coordinating council that links up nutrition, that links up health,
with
that links up so different agencies. So siya po ang nagko-coordinate lamang, pero ang pasweldo po ay nasa barangay.
Okay. My question is this. Because your background, your background is more on you graduated as Bachelor of Science in like sciences.
Behavioral science, but Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences, major in
that could be in like a psychology course, right? You could have worked in big time a UP graduate. You can work big time firms, right? But what have made you so passionate in early childhood? Right, this is so challenging.
Siguro po ayaw kong tumanda.
That is true.
Wow.
That is true. Totoo yan.
Mas maganda pong kaharap araw-araw yung mga bata. Kaysa po yung may sasakit ang ulo ko sa mga adults.
Oh, wow. So, bigyan mo kami ng mga techniques. Paano mo bright ang mga bata? Tingnan natin ito. Behavioral psycho. Okay. Go ahead, Mary Ann.
Salamat.
Paano mo, how do you teach? Yung mga grade, how old are they?
So pag po early childhood, ang preparation natin, ibig sabihin, para i-handle po sa buong mundo po, ang kategorya ng child, being a child is from 0 to 18. So as an early childhood educator, I can handle from 0 to, that means infant, until age 18. How is that?
18
So
months?
sa mga, actually,
years old. 18
pag
years
sinabi
18 years old.
Yeah.
Yun, ano, opo, yun po ang ating definition ng child. So,
Correct.
Okay. All right.
ayun. Pero po, sa buong mundo po, mataas, dahil nga po hinahabol natin ang quality dahil sa maliit na early part of our life is where we form the foundation for our ability to, social emotional skills, cognitive development, motor development. So kung ang tanong niyo po is paano na bibigay, how do we give the best start in life?
Mm-hmm.
Sa tiyan pa lang po ng nanay. So doon po sa programa na kadalasang binibigay ng mga advocates katulad ko po, inuumpisahan po sa education ng mga parents. So kapag po nagplano na magkaroon ng anak, so we encourage that the parents attend prenatal checkups. They have enough nutrition and that kaya nga po ang programa ng Pantawid Pamilya sa Philippines, it's a poverty reduction program. Nire-require po na umattend po ang magulang, lalo na po yung buntis, ng mga prenatal checkup tsaka mga seminar para po yung pondo po natin na binibigay sa kanila ay masuportahan yung bata sa loob ng tiyan. Dahil pag kinulang po ng nutrients yun, may implication po na, let's say, folic acid, magkaroon ng iron deficiency or folic acid, pwede po magkaroon ng, hindi po ako doktor, nung fresh pa po sa utak ko, nung year 2014-2015, may diretso pong epekto kapag kinulang sa mga minerals, nutrients. So, pag nilabas po yung bata, kailangan, supposed to be, nabigay ng nanay yung nutrients sa tiyan pa lang. Correct. Para yung backbone niya, malakas, matigas, makapaglakad siya ng tama, makapag-isip. So, that's the beginning. And then, kapag po inalabas na po natin ang bata, syempre po, ipaparehistro sa ating gobyerno para mabigyan po ng mga serbisyo, social services. And then, kasama po sa check-up ng ating mga baby, ay ang pagbabasa ng libro. Kaya kaakibat po ng programa na in-implement namin sa Save the Children, hanggang ngayon po nag-i-implement po ito. KBA, kapitbahayan. So ibig sabihin, ito pong kapitbahayan, umaabot KBA, tsaka po marami pa pong programa, First Read, umaabot po ito ng Mindanao. Gumagawa po ang Save the Children ng mga libro na gamit ang salita kung saan man sila may programa. Okay. So, kankanay o ano man yun. So, tinatanong niyo po kung paano natin iahanda ang ating mga anak, ang mga citizen, sa umpisa pa lang. Dahil may pag-aaral po, Nobel laureate na nagsabi na pag nag-invest ka ng $1 sa isang bata, ikumpara mo sa may edad na o halimbawa is 18 years old or later on, or it could be if you invest in the penitentiary or if you invest in later training, the return of investment is not really as great as when you invest in the early childhood program.
That's true.
So if you're asking about that, pag mabasa po, pagkausap, pakikinig, tamang nutrisyon, tamang tulog, doon po nagsisimula. At mga, alam niyo po yung child protection na kumbaga paano ba natin sasabihin ito? May mga bata po kasi na na-abuse. So kapag po ang bata na-abuse, whether mental or verbal abuse or physical abuse, nagkakaroon po ng stunt sa growth. So malaki po ang stunting natin, malaki ang malnutrition natin. So kung paano natin tutulungan, ayun po, may mga pag-aaral po dyan which is really about love, right nutrition, right relaxation, nurturing, caring environment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Teacher Josie, you have a question?
Yeah, you are the one who organized this, put together this program, and now you are here in Canada, and I understand that there is still ongoing process, right? Are you in somewhat in a position whereby you can advise, or can they call you, or are you entirely, separated
Out
the
from,
program?
yeah, out from that project.
Yeah. Are you still
Um,
connected with them?
Hindi po ako isa lang po ako sa nag-roll out. Pag po may programa katulad dito, malawakang implementasyon, meron pong mga tao na, kumbaga may kanya-kanyang specialization yan. Ibigyan ko lang po kayo ng background.
Correct. Yeah.
Meron pong country office at merong regional office na nag-i-implement nun. So may nag-create ng konsepto dahil nga po sa mga pangangailangan na nakikita natin sa lipunan.
Mhm.
Tapos sila po yung hihingi or maghahanap ng mga funder, kami po ang nag-i-implement. So kung tanong niyo po, marami pa pong programa na tuloy-tuloy hanggang ngayon.
Okay.
Kailangan lang po maipakita sa mga funder na yung funding na ibinibigay nila ay napupunta kung saan man ito nakatuon. Dito naman po sa Canada, dahil nga po meron tayong pagnanasa na makatulong, hindi na po ako ganun ka full-time, pero regularly, meron po akong kausap na teacher. It's like a mentoring system that we're doing, like we're providing support system. Katulad ng nasabi ni Tita Pasita, pagdating mo dito sa isang lugar na baguhan ka, hindi ka naman agad bibigyang lisensya. So titingnan nga po ang ating credentials kung equivalent ba siya sa nire-require ng mga regulatory body. Like sa atin, ang regulatory body ay anong tawag sa regulatory sa atin? PRC, Professional Regulation Commission.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Dito po, bawat province, we call jurisdiction as province. Because here in Canada, it's the province that handles the education. The Ministry of Education is under the provincial government, not the federal government. So the same with the US, right? It's the state who's handling the implementation of the services for education. So here in Ontario, for example, where Toronto is, it's being handled by the Ontario College of Teachers. So the Ontario College of Teachers look through over the credentials of the applicants like me. So in my case, I came here to Canada as an early childhood educator. So sorry, go ahead.
I have a question. What ages that you are teaching right now?
I'm teaching, so let me give you a background before I go to answer your question, Tita. So here in Ontario, we have a separate, the same way with the Philippines. If we have Department of Education that handles the education, which is the basic education, also covering kindergarten, it's the local government in the Philippines is handling the early childhood programs. Here in Ontario, it's the Ministry of Education who's handling the basic education from kindergarten to grade 12. And then we have a separate ministry that handles the early childhood and welfare. So if you're asking me what level I'm teaching right now, I can teach from kindergarten to grade 6. So here in Ontario, a teacher is expected to teach in 2 divisions. So it could be primary, which covers kindergarten to grade 3, junior, which covers grade 4 to 6. So that's where I can teach, primary to junior. So I can teach that. So wherever there's a need, I can teach until there. But I can also take additional qualification to teach in the intermediate, which is grade 7 to 8, and then a different qualification for high school.
Okay.
Before I get permanent.
Right now,
I just got permanent right now for kindergarten. But prior to this, I signed a contract for SK, split senior kindergarten and grade 1. But after the online reorganization, I landed in grade 4-5. So para po makapagturo po tayo dito sa Ontario, kailangan po generalist po. Kasi po sa Pilipinas ang practice, baka hindi ko lang po alam sa US. Sa Pilipinas, specialist tayo eh. Kung specialist ka ng English, kahit anong level from grade 1 to high school probably or grade 6, pwede ka magturo ng English. Dito po, kailangan yung homeroom teacher, generalist, lahat yan ituturo per level.
All subjects.
All subjects. Ano hindi po ba sa US?
Yeah, yes.
Specialized to
It's elementary. Although there is the
same as
special music teacher, special gym, special science teacher, and all that.
Okay.
Now, can we please change our topic to something that got my interest? Can you tell us about the supply international language instructor that you listed? Because I saw that there is a program on Filipino language in
Ontario.
The Catholic District of School Board, the Toronto
Thank you.
Catholic District. Yeah.
You have a good eye, Tita Pasita.
Yeah, I saw that. Interesado kami kasi in here in New York, like Judy knows and Josie knows, we try very hard to educate the Americans about our culture, including that language. So how is it in Canada? What is this all about?
The Canada embraces multiculturalism. So as a way for public school boards to support this is to provide, it's a continuing study, meaning it's not in the basic education, but it's an additional enrichment program that they provide for different minority groups or different groups. Like we have for different, like Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, Indian, a different language. So they also cater for Filipino. So we teach Tagalog. Doon po ako nagsimula. I taught Tagalog course because children who have been born here may not know how to speak the language. So, and it's exciting that there are children who may not be of Filipino descent who are interested in enrolling in it.
So is it an ongoing course and every time, like every semester or something, a period, anybody who's interested can enroll in it? Or is it just like a weekend course, or how is it?
Normally a school board, because we have two school boards there. The one that I'm connected for the basic education is the Toronto Catholic District School Board. That is the biggest publicly funded Catholic education. We conduct survey whoever wants to avail of that.
Correct.
So depending on the number, you have to have a minimum, I think, of 15. It varies from year to year, 15 or 25 for a program to open.
In a class, okay. And so far,
what is the schedule? How long?
Normally, it is on a weekend or after school program. Like after we end our school for 3:30 or 3 o'clock, depending on the school.
Right.
So yeah, it's an hour program after, so like once a week.
So how do you find teaching them?
How do we find teaching them? Well, since this is not age, this is
it's
not
all different ages.
Different
Correct.
ages. So we provide differentiated activity. It's more on appreciation of the culture and getting immersed into the different forms like art, literature. So kung may bugtungan ba dyan, it's not a language. But normally, language plays a basic part in it.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay, Tita
sorry to
Josie?
interrupt.
No.
So sorry to interrupt. It's so beautiful that I am able to teach Filipino here. Can you just imagine that?
Yeah.
But
Actually, that is not part of the curriculum of the public school. It is just your advocacy, guys. Is that correct?
It's part of the program. It's in addition. It's not part of the basic education package, but it's
Right.
It's like a continuing study or an additional. It's like, for example, night school for high school, something like that. So it's additional program that the school board is offering for the community.
So it's like an enrichment course, something.
Right. So you are paid for this for the program.
Yeah, to do it.
Per hour. Where you're paid by the hour.
It's like an
but
after-school program.
It's an after-school program. But the
Correct.
preparation part, you don't get paid for it. It's only when you do the actual teaching.
Right.
Correct. Yes. Tita Pasit,
Yeah. How many? I'm very interested in this one because we do it here also in New York. Or we have many programs on the Filipino culture. So about how many of you teachers, Filipinos, are involved in the program?
For this,
So, yeah.
we have here, I don't know the number, but we have, for example, the Filipino Center, FCT, and I would recommend for you to meet our director emeritus, our chairman emeritus, Tony San Juan, who has been a very active community builder here of the Filipino community. So if you're asking me how many, well, I wouldn't be able to know because,
Right. Okay.
for example, the Filipino Center Toronto is holding free for other people. So there are Filipinos who get into that too. So in my case, well, I don't hold it, but how do I do it? I am employed for it. So if you're asking me what are the outreach for, it's basically assisting or mentoring teachers. In the process, like for example, we have an annual Proudly Pinoy program. That's where we gather the Filipino community for example, in Toronto Catholic District School Board. I facilitate encounters with the children. So if you're asking me if we teach for free, yes, we do, but it's not regular. Only specific events that we facilitate,
Right.
Cultural exposure, cultural activities for the Filipino community.
Very good. Very good.
Are you well accepted in Canada? I mean, in a sense that you hardly encounter
Racism.
Yes. I mean, is it a smooth transition?
It's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very hot topic, especially nowadays, right?
Right.
Very, very hot topic.
Yeah.
So, how do I explain it? There are different levels of discrimination, right? And when you say when we go racism, it's something that has been established or maybe systematized, probably being led by certain leaders or what. But discrimination and biases, there might be. But being in Toronto itself, because in Toronto, there's so many migrants already, so lesser experiences for discrimination. And in the area where I am in, and my child came in here when he was 10 years old, to be honest with you. When he came in here, because he came from a private school, and normally private schools in the Philippines use English as the medium of instruction. So he's used to using English too. So when he came in here, baliktad po, 90% of the children in his school speaks Filipino. So dito po siya naging bihasang maging nagtagalog.
Talaga?
Wow.
1/3 of the population in the recent census last year, 26% of the enrolled students in the Toronto Catholic District School Board are of Filipino descent.
Really?
Oh, my God.
Kami pala dyan.
Marami.
What made you, Mary Ann, what made you decide to go there?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Nangangarap po tayo maging magulang na mabigyan ng maraming choice yung anak natin. So, pag po mayroon po kasi tayong Philippine passport, hindi po natin mabibigyan sila ang oportunidad na makapunta sa iba't ibang lugar na mag-improve ng kanilang kaalaman.
Correct.
So having a different passport, such as, for example, Canadian passport, will enable them to have better choices. So it's really for the children's future.
That's true.
Okay.
Admirable. Very
Tita
admirable.
Josie, do you have more question? Kasi meron pa akong question.
Go ahead. Ask your question.
I-grill ko siya. Okay.
Go ahead.
No. Tita, I have a question. I think three of us, we want to know some of your challenges in there. What the things that you have encountered in your teaching experience in there for 6 years now. So tell us about some of the challenges in there.
How did you deal with them? Mm-hmm.
Mga papaitan. Mga mapapait na mga kwento.
Yeah.
Nako. I tried, paano ba? Because I'm a person who tries to always create my own reality. Like, I believe that whatever challenge that I encounter, I always ask myself, oh God, what are you teaching me in here? So, oh God, what are you teaching me in here? And because I always ask that, I get to realize that the more difficulty I encounter, the more learning I can get, and I become very appreciative of it. So, as for me, siguro kung ikukumpara niyo po sa ibang mga katulad nating mga Pinoy, hindi ko po naramdaman ng husto yung sakit, dahil tanggap ko na pag pupunta ka sa isang lugar, second class ano ka.
Right.
Although I've been exposed from different countries, I have been exposed and all that, pero kailangan hindi ko isipin na I'm a second class citizen. So yung pagtanggap mo sa sarili mo na kasama ka nila, siguro yun yung all the time na I try to master. Every time I go to a certain community, I feel I belong. So I always make myself feel I belong. So if you're asking me how I dealt with all the challenges, oh wow, I didn't think that I am a second class citizen. I always feel I'm equal. And so you know what? I became part of the advisory council of the board, even if I was just new. I wasn't even citizen then that time yet. So I always research to the point that, kasi po, pagpasok po namin dito, na-surprise po ako, buntis po ako. So hindi ako nakatrabaho. And then difficult pregnancy. So naramdaman ko po dito, sabi ko, oh my God, magluluto ka, maglalaba ka, tapos bago ka umalis, bibit-bitin mo yung stroller mo, tsaka yung carrier mo, ang bigat-bigat po, mamamalengke ako, dala-dala ko yung anak ko dito, and then sasakay ako ng bus, pag yung stroller po, tinutulak kong ganyan, nalaglag yung bag ng anak ko, yung baby bag, nadapa po ako at may parating na sasakyan, gumulong po yung bag namin, sabi ng sasakyan namin to, are you okay?
Oh yeah.
I am okay. Tapos, nagbabas po kami, naka-stroller. So, anong tanong niyo po sa akin? Anong difficulty? Those are difficulties, pero sabi ko, oh my God, lahat naman kami dito nakaka-encounter ng ganito.
Okay.
That kept me going and going kahit malamig po. Naghihintay po ako ng bus. Ang lamig-lamig na. Ang lamig-lamig. Diyos ko po, nanginginig na po yung kamay ko. Naghihintay ako ng bus dahil, when it's public transportation, you have to wait when the bus comes. I think, and then pangalawa, pakikisama. Pakikisama dahil wala pa kaming bahay noon. So makikisama ka sa nandyan sa'yo. And then, mag-aaral ka ulit. Pag nag-aaral po ako noon, madaling araw kasi tulog yung anak ko. Tahimik. And then, magka-practicum po. Go ahead
When you went there, you did not have a visa to work?
When I came here, I was an immigrant.
I
So
see.
when you are an immigrant,
that's
You can work.
I can work, but I was pregnant and I had difficult pregnancy.
That's
And
why.
then I needed to take care of my daughter. And what helped us cope? I researched to the point that for 2 years, our electric bill was for free. And then I got free desktop computers and then internet.
Wow.
I researched, I applied for different programs. I got training here and there for free. So what kept us alive? Because one earner is not enough. So I always search for programs, search that enabled us to survive.
I see. Okay.
Wow.
You're a fighter.
You're a
Perseverance,
fighter.
huh?
Mary
Yeah,
Ann, that's so
perseverance.
nice.
Right.
Wow.
Kailangan
So
po.
anyway, we don't have enough time. We will just have a little quotes from all of us. So I hope that these quotations or quotes that gonna share, this will inspire people also, our listeners. So I think I will start from Tita Josie, and then Tita Pasit, and then Mary Ann, and me. All right.
Before I say my quotes tonight, thank you so much for your appearance here, Mary. And we really appreciate it. You're so inspiring. You're
Yes,
so
it
young and
is.
telling me all these, things that are very helpful to other people.
Correct.
Anyway, my quotes here is, always remember, great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events,
Uh-huh.
small minds discuss
People.
people. Always remember,
Love
spend
that.
your time
I
in
know.
relevant matter, walang chismis.
I love
Yeah,
it.
we
I
discussed
love it.
people tonight at saka ideas. So we're
Yeah.
good.
Tita Basit, it's your
Okay.
turn.
Okay, now, I think this one is very, very, my quote for tonight, which I found on, so Facebook. There's so very nice, many very
Yes,
inspirational
that's
pages.
true.
Yeah, and I think this applies to all four women here, including the young teacher we have here. It
Mhm.
says, be the moon, inspire others, even when you're far from full. We are really
Wow.
not up there, but I think by what we do,
We
how
do.
we act, how we behave, how we treat other people, we are an inspiration. We are not yet full, but we can always inspire
Right.
people
We
by
are not
our.
perfect. We are not
That's
perfect.
very good. Thank
In
you.
progress. Still in progress.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, Mary Ann.
Before I say my quote, I'd like to thank you, Tita Pasita, and also for mentioning my mother.
You're welcome.
Because my mother is her best friend, Tita Josie,
Oh,
for
yeah.
that very kind comment. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure that I have this opportunity to meet you, and Tita Judy for your very warm welcome. So I think with me, what kept me alive and probably what may be a good thing for all of us to remember is this one by Romans. It's a scripture from the Bible, Romans 12:12. Rejoice in hope. Let's keep on hoping. We have to be patient in tribulation, and to be constant in prayer. Only then that we're able to maximize every opportunity to be grateful for everything that we have and remain hopeful for the future and be patient until we get into the time where we can go back to the old normal. Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
Very
So
good.
beautiful. Beautiful. So, ang akin naman, tita, para to sa atin na mga kalulahan, mga lola na tayo. Pero we never cease in educating ourselves. This
Uh-huh.
is it. This is from Anthony D. Angelo. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So we will just continue kahit 80 na tayo.
Hindi halata.
Kung mag-80 na tayo, 'di ba? We will never cease to grow.
Yes.
This is so
Very
beautiful.
true.
Like Mary Ann. Mary Ann is a researcher. She loves to research. She loves to study more.
To learn.
And how beautiful that is, right, Mary Ann? I am very inspired of your story that you never cease to grow. It is because you love to study and study. Look at you. Look at you. And sabi ni Tita, Pasit sa amin before your beauty came in Zoom, sabi niya, ang mother niya is my best friend. So, kwento siya ng konti-konti sa mga life ni mami mo at sa kakanya. Ang sabi ko lang, Mary Ann, you reach your dream to be up there now. You are still very, very young. Pero you have done a lot of things already in your life.
Exactly.
And our prayer is you will still continue to inspire people through your attitude. Talagang fighter ka, sabi ni Tita. Ang totoo yun. So nakita namin yan sa iyo and we are very happy of what you have achieved now. Mary Ann, thank you so much. And we're happy that inalukan, what is it?
Inaunlakan mo ang aming
Ang aming
invitasyon.
invitation, right. So, Tita
Bisaya
Josie,
siya eh.
ikaw ba? Kasi Bisaya ako, sabi mo, Inday, Bisaya ka din para malaman nila na Bisaya ka. But
Pero
anyway, thank you.
masama ang loob ko sa iyo.
Bakit?
Sabi mo kanina, mas maganda ako kay Mary Ann. Tapos sabi mo, maganda siya.
Ikaw naman.
Tayo.
Oh, pati ka, Mary Ann, talagang maganda ka pala.
I'm just joking.
Oh, in and out si Mary Ann, ha?
Oo nga, oo nga.
So thank you very much
Salamat.
in regards to your family, si
Salamat,
husband and
Mary
mga
Ann.
bata dyan.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
you. Bye.
Tita
It's
Josie,
my
Pasit,
pleasure.
and
Thank
Mary
you for
Ann.
your kind
Bye-bye
words.
now.
Thank you so much for your
Bye-bye.
time. Thank you.
Thank
My
you,
pleasure.
listeners
Good
and
night.
viewers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is your Filipino radio experience in Las Vegas. PHLV Radio.